it's a little frightening to be the only person in the cockpit while you're sailing along on autopilot. If you go overboard, there's a good chance you won't be picked up again. I'm going to take first watch. We're doing 3-hour watches again.
Hello, this is Tom, and welcome back to Life 4.0. If you are a boater, sooner or later you will be confronted with a night passage, which will require you to carefully develop a watch schedule. You will also need to take special precautions for nighttime navigation to avoid getting into trouble. In this video, I will walk you through the watch schedule and nighttime navigation techniques we employ on board our sailboat Sea Rose. So let's start first with the actual watch schedule.
Nightfall will be here another hour or so. We are doing 2-hour watches during the day and 3-hour watches at night. So it's close to 8 o'clock. I went on watch at 7 and I go off watch at 10. Then Karen will come on watch at 10 and go till 1. Then I'll come on at 1 to 4. And Karen will go back on 4 to 7. And then we'll probably switch back to 2-hour watches at that point. It gives us a little bit of extra time to get some sleep. It's not great, but it's a little bit better than like a 2-hour watch. And then a 4-hour watch just seems like too long for the person on watch. So
that's how we do our watch schedule with just 2 of us on board. If we have more crew, say 4 people total, we still establish 2 watch teams, with each team made up of 2 people instead of 1. This creates a buffer of safety, as well as giving the on-watch crew someone to talk to and to support each other. If we have 6 crew, we create 3 watch teams of 2 people each, with each individual watch still 3 hours long. This gives the off watch a very attractive 6-hour break. Next, I'll walk you through how we prepare for a night passage, starting with instrumentation and systems checks.
So we're moving into our night watch mode, turning the instruments on to red color to ease our eyes, and our chart plotter's just dim. I can change the brightness, so that's kind of what we do. And we've tested the radar to make sure it's working okay, and it's on right now, and it's got a guard zone showing in front of us about 4 miles out. So it'll warn us if it picks up any targets within that guard zone. And we can go to a half navigation chart and half radar, which will probably have this screen on when it gets dark.
Let's now move into specific gear to have at hand. I'll start with something that may not be obvious at first: binoculars. Yep. They are not only helpful during the daytime, but are also great during the low light of dusk, dawn, and partial moonlit nights, as I try to spot, in this example, a fishing boat showing up on AIS.
Okay, so I just pulled out our binoculars, and although it's a little bit dark, the light's fading, I was able to get a good look at this boat, and indeed it is a fishing boat. It's a bit bigger than what we normally see along the coast. It's probably because it is out here so far, it's more of a deeper, longer excursion fishing boat. But it's moving slowly from right to left and looks very much like a profile of a typical fishing boat.
When we are talking gear for an overnight, it's important to consider your personal safety with life jackets, tethers, and jack lines.
I should add that I've got my inflatable life jacket on. We do this whenever we're offshore, and particularly when we're on watch by ourselves. If I was to fall overboard, Karen's got an alarm to wake up before her watch, so it could be another 2 hours right now until she knows then I'm gone. And so having a life jacket, inflatable life jacket is super important there. I've also got a tether here that I can use, ready to go. I'm not putting it on me yet, but I can put that on if I feel like I need to. And then we also, together with that, we have these blue jack lines that go up each side of the deck. So the tether attaches to me, to my life jacket, and then the other end goes on to the jack line, so I can move safely up the deck all the way forward, and not have to worry about if I fall overboard.
And it's good to have at hand some personal lighting in the cockpit area.
The preparation that we're doing, I've got a headlamp here that I can use. I might use it for a little bit of reading tonight, but also if we need to move around the cockpit and see things, we've got some lights here, that lower level lights to kind of show the cockpit sole, but it's helpful to have a headlamp there ready to go in case we need to open up lockers and get into any kind of gear at all.
And finally, on the topic of lighting, there's the boat's navigational lights.
The other thing we have is we've turned on the lights, the navigation lights, and also our steaming lights since we're under motor. We're no longer have the rights as a sailboat because we're on engine power. So we've got those on to be able to be seen by other boats.
Before we leave the topic of safety, let's discuss the personal risk from other boats.
You know, when you're out here, just the two of us, way out here with no other help, you're always a little bit cautious, want to know what other boats are doing. And, you know, in a perfect world, everybody would be kind and friendly, but sometimes there are people out here that are not, so we just want to keep a close eye on that. I could get the binoculars out and check and see if it looks like it's a fishing boat, and make sure we know what's going on. It could be a Coast Guard or police boat watching for traffic, which I guess is okay. We just want to make sure that we're not surprised by them coming up to us at nighttime like we did off of Italy.
Okay, so we have the boat and crew all ready for night navigation. Let's talk about the process when it is time to change watch.
You're always a little groggy when you come up on watch. You know, it takes you 10 or 15 minutes to kind of get your bearings. And we have a little briefing that we do for the person going off watch. They mention anything that was significant that they saw, anything they feel the person should watch out for, anything like with radar guard zones that are on or off, or anything they might have seen on the radar. So it helps to kind of brief the new person coming on, and actually gives them a little bit of time to wake up as well. So it's not like a instantaneous thing where, you know, at 10 o'clock I'm going down and Karen's coming up at 10:01. We try to have a little bit of transition time there to kind of help the person who's coming on watch to kind of get their senses about them. Those are some of the precautions and steps that we take to make sure we got a safe passage.
So, what do we do when we go off watch? Let's discuss some do's and don'ts.
With two of us, it's not a lot of people to stand watches. So, you know, you're on a watch and then you're off one watch and you're back on. So what we do in that case is that we try to get as much sleep as possible when we're not on watch. Even during the daytime, like I laid down from about 3 to 5. I got in, you know, a little bit of an hour or so of sleep there. And that kind of gave me a little bit of better ability to stay awake in the middle of the night. And Karen went down for like a daytime nap as well. So that helps. It makes you a little less tired overnight. And when we're not on watch overnight, we really try to avoid any kind of temptation to read or to kind of mill around or do dishes or whatever. We try to go right down and go to sleep, so that you're getting as much rest as possible. And then that continues into the next day. So it's actually kind of fun to have an excuse to take a nap during the day and a nap in the morning after you've been up for on and off through the night. So it gives you a reason to kind of slow yourself down and get some rest. But it's also got a very serious side of it too, because the more tired you are, the less you're going to be able to make proper decisions and be able to kind of get your head into what's going on.
Before we wrap up, I'd like to drill in a little more on an earlier topic, the use of a radar guard zone.
I just want to show you an example of the benefit of radar in addition to AIS for these night navigation crossings. So I've got the radar up here, and I had just a moment ago I had a guard zone on here. So guard zones are ways that you can be notified if a target appears. So this guard zone is like a semicircular space that goes out 4 miles, and it was starting to pick up a return there. It looks to see if it's consistent, and then in a minute here it should warn me that there is a target within that guard zone. While we're waiting for that alarm to go off, way down here off our bow is a fishing boat. Okay, yep. So, and here's the warning. Target has entered guard zone 2. So, that gives me a warning letting me know that there's a boat. It's probably more than likely it's a fishing boat. Most of them have AIS on, but this does not. Going to go back to the split view of chart and radar. So again, here's the radar with that fishing boat about 3 miles away from us now. And this shows the chart view. It's a different range level. This is only 4 nautical miles, and this is longer than that. But there's a boat out here that's another fishing boat. You can tell right away it's not the same as this one, because this one's just to the left of our bow, and this one's clearly to starboard of our bow. And we actually have another, this is a passenger ship going over to Italy. So really helpful here. Obviously I've been watching this fishing boat on AIS for a little while. It's about 6 miles away. This is 3 miles away. I would not have probably seen this given how dark it is and being right on the horizon way up there. I would not have seen it unless the radar guard zone alerted me to that. So there's an example of using both AIS and radar. Okay, so it's going to keep popping up here to warn me that it's in that guard zone. I haven't figured a way other than just turning the guard zone off to not have it keep reminding me about this. I guess that's just, it doesn't uniquely know that that's the same target it was warning me before about. So I'm just going to go in here under alarms, guard zone 2, and turn off the warning. The risk, and you can see that the grayed out area goes away. The risk there is you kind of forget that you've turned off the guard zone, and you have to kind of remember to turn it back on once this target leaves that area. You can shape the guard zone however you want. So under guard zone 2, I can adjust the zone, and I can, change the shape of things. I have it almost a full semicircle, which is probably overkill, but in case a boat's coming like right abeam to us, that would warn us of that. Most of the traffic you're going to be concerned about is stuff that's like within 20 degrees, 30 degrees either side of you. But we do this just to be doubly safe. So there you go, guard zone there. I'm going to turn that back off. And there we go. So I'll keep watching that target, and once it leaves the area where I have the guard zone set up, I will know that it's I can turn the guard zone back on.
That's it. As always, we hope you enjoyed this video, and we encourage you to like it so others can more easily find this kind of content. Be sure to check out our playlist of other how-to videos on our Life 4.0 channel, as well as our many sailing adventure videos, as we explore this amazing planet one anchorage at a time.